Hi, my name is Ryan Harris for thisbridgestheroot.com. I'm going to go over NHRP authentication very quickly, and then I'm going to talk about multicast traffic over DMVPN tunnels and how that affects routing protocols. Then I'm going to show you the modern NHRP command and how it shrinks down the command set and combines everything into one line. Let's get started. So first off, I'm going to take a look at the existing running config on router 1 here. And you can see I have an NHRP redirect and a network ID. So there's very little command here on the hub router. I'm going to go and create under tunnel 1 the NHRP authentication command. So I'm going to set this to bridge is the authentication string. And I'm going to go under router 2. Let's look at the running config real quick. Under the tunnel 1 interface, I'm going to set the NHRP authentication command to be isRoot. So I don't want these to match. I want them to be different. And actually, I'm going to do a shut no shut real quick just so that we can see that NHRP registration. So you can see here on router 1, I've got an error message that's saying registration failure. So let's look at the show IP NHRP NHS details. And you can see here I've got a pending registration request. I'm expecting replies there for that neighbor. And you can see request sent and received replies 0. So we've got a failure there. Just so you're aware, NHRP authentication is in plain text and is more meant to protect against configuration mismanagement rather than be a true security mechanism. So I'm going to go and remove those authentication commands off of both routers real quick. So next up, we're going to discuss multicast over DMVPN. Let's see what happens when we create an EIGRP neighbor. So I'm just going to copy in here some commands to start EIGRP, and that's just router EIGRP with a network statement. So you can see we have a tunnel adjacency on router 2. It says we do at the very least. So let's do a show IP EIGRP neighbor. And you can see here I do have a neighbor, but the queue count, importantly, is 1. So the queue is the number of packets that are waiting to be acknowledged on the other side. So let's look at show IP EIGRP neighbor on router 1. And we're seeing no neighbor. So the problem that we have here is multicast is not being transmitted in the other direction. So I really quickly want to do a show run all begin tunnel 1. So we can look at the command. By default, there's a command IP NHRP map multicast dynamic. And so when router 2 registers itself with router 1, it's going to dynamically configure that neighbor as a multicast address. So you can see show IP NHRP multicast. We can actually see that there. Let's go to router 2, look at the show IP NHRP multicast, and we don't have an entry there on router 2. So what we have to do is go and create that statically. So I'm going to go config T, interface tunnel 1, IP NHRP map multicast, and set that as 10.0.1.1, the NBMA address of the hub router. So now I'm going to go to that IP NHRP multicast, and I do have that the hub router as a static NHRP multicast address now. When I do show IP EIGRP neighbor here on router 2, I do see it, and the queue count has now been reduced to 0. Let's go up to show IP EIGRP neighbor on the hub router, and we have a neighbor now. So we have a two-way EIGRP neighborship now. So next up, I want to take a look at the running config on tunnel 1, and you can see that we have 4 NHRP commands here. We have a IP NHRP map, so we're mapping the the tunnel interface to a NBMA address. Then we have the map multicast address that we just put on there. As well, we have the next hop server, so the NHS, and that's the tunnel interface of the router. So with newer versions, this command's been around a while. We actually have the ability to reduce that all onto one line. So we'll just go under tunnel 1, and I'm going to go ahead and remove those NHRP commands. So remove the map multicast, and remove the NHS. We're going to leave the NHRP network ID because that is needed. So that new command is IP NHRP NHS. So it's going to be 1055.01, just like it appears above. But then we're going to say NBMA, and that is the NBMA address, so 10.0.1.1. And lastly, we're going to give it the multicast keyword here. So now when I do a show DMVPN, we actually see 10.0.1.1. And when I look at the show running config for tunnel 1, what used to be 3 commands is now 1 line of command. So much more efficient in the configuration, and takes everything and puts it all on one line for us. Okay, that's it for now. In the next one, we're going to take a deeper look at EIGRP and OSPF routing. Thank you for watching.